someone send me Buzz Rossfield's number. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Day Sports. My name is Chris, and we've got plenty of rugby league to get into this week. Billy Slater steps down as the Queensland coach. Who is going to be PNG's number 7? Obviously, a round review, which I want to be put out of my misery at this stage. It's that point of the season, particularly with the Broncos. And of course, my tips and predictions for this upcoming round 25, I think we're in. Something like that. And honestly, I feel like we might potentially see the first ever 100-point game in the NRL with some of the stuff coming up. But I'll timestamp it all. Make sure you get around the socials. Right, so let's get into it for this week. Billy Slater, he stepped down as the Queensland coach. So first things first, I'd just like to... round of applause for old Bill, the bush poet himself. I feel like he's gone out there and absolutely killed it for Queensland as a coach. Obviously, as a player, goes down as an absolute immortal, build the man statue sort of stuff. But I feel like as a coach, I reckon he would have to be in the argument for one of the best Queensland coaches getting around. Now, there's going to be a standouts. Your absolute elite of the elite. Doesn't get much better than Lego, better than sliced bread sort of guys. And that's your Mel Meningas, your Wayne Bennett, Kevy Walters sniffing at the door. Couple of those guys, your Arthur Beats and your Fatty, people like that are going to be, head and shoulders above the others, some of the achievements and everything like that. But for what Billy Slater's managed to do the last few years, so yeah, the 5 series that Billy Slater has had, he's managed to win 3 of them. So that's not a bad track record, if you ask me. So yeah, what he's going to do now, it's been talk for a long time that is it going to be the Storm gig? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? Now at this stage, Billy Ake is going to be the coach for 2027. So I can't see him going there. I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever though if he kind of has a year off, just goes off into the wilderness, does whatever Billy Slater wants to do, relaxes a little bit, does his media stuff, rides horses around at the Melbourne Cup, all that sort of jazz. And then Bellyache, if he does hang up the gloves, hang up the boots, however you'd like to put it for him, going into 2028, I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever if Billy Slater is the Storm coach for 2028. So I know he said no to Storm at the moment, but that might just be for next year. You got Bellyache doing his thing, and then after that, who knows? So well done to Billy though. Amazing achievements there as a Queensland coach. Whether it's going to be the last time he does it as well, that's another thing. So plenty of coaches have come and gone. They go off. They might go on a bit of a run, go away. We've seen it with Lee Laurie. We've seen it with Wayne Bennett. We've seen it with a million different coaches. That have kind of had various different stints, and it's not like Billy's short on years. He's got a long way ahead. Particularly, he can go double coach Storm for a little bit, come back for Queensland, maybe look at an Australian gig. The world is his oyster at this stage, so we'll be interested to see what he does. But yeah, I feel like that's probably going to be part of the plan. And there's plenty of chat the last few days who potentially is going to be the next Queensland coach. People are chatting about Cam Smith, Jonathan Thurston, Kevy Walters' name's getting thrown around, Ben Teo, another one. It will be interesting. I don't know how long it's going to be until we actually get announced. It's been a while, I suppose, since this has happened, at least for Queensland, and how quickly they kind of make a decision around that. Kevy Walters has pretty much ruled himself out. I'm under the impression Cam Smith has ruled himself out at this point. I don't think JT was ever really that overly keen for it. I think I saw Darius Boyd, putting his hand up and saying, yeah, I'd be fucking keen. I don't know if Darius Boyd's a part of any team's coaching staff or what he's doing, but hey, look, if he's keen, he's keen. And then, yeah, obviously Kevy's got the Australian gig. So be interesting to see kind of what happens there. I don't know if I've really got a potential preference for it. It could be somebody like no one's even talking about that's going to, just swoop in and be the coach. So that could very well happen. I don't even think it's possible. I'm pretty sure that'd have to be a Queenslander, but it'd be the funniest thing of all time. The ultimate heel turn if Ivan Cleary 2027 said, yeah, I'm going to coach Queensland. We've seen it before in international sort of stuff. Madge has obviously coached New Zealand. You've had Wayne Bennett go out there and coach England. It's not entirely impossible for something strange like that to happen. I don't think Ivan would be able to lean on the Where Queenslanders line, unfortunately. But yeah, let me know in the comments anyway who you think is going to be the next coach for Queensland, because I'm about as good as guess as anyone else. But speaking of Billy, I just want to kind of highlight the various series and the memories that I have from him. Some of the highlights were the ones that he's won, the ones that he's lost. Queensland got absolutely destroyed in 2021. New South Wales looked like they thought they were fucking flying. They thought they were going to build a dynasty, go out there and just pump Queensland. That's the kind of side that they had. I think Latrell was killing it. Turbo 2021, enough said. put a fork in us, we're done. And then the rollout, debut year for Billy Slater, 2022. And for me, the ultimate highlight, I feel like this is probably, in my opinion, I reckon this is probably the best series. And it'd be interesting to say which one he would actually pick. But I feel like this would be the best series that Queensland actually won, probably during that period of time. I think definitely underdogs going into this, particularly with what happened in 2021, getting absolutely pumped. I was there at Suncorp Stadium, Game 3, super close, tough, gritty game, and then out of nowhere, intercept, go Dozer! Like, that's one of the great State of Origin moments that has happened under Billy Slater. Like, just absolute elite moment, winning that series. Like, there was just an energy of that series that was untouched. And like, I've been to plenty of Origin games, a couple of different deciders, but that one, like, just ridiculous. And then going on to win it back-to-back 2023 is a great achievement itself. Queensland winning the first two games, dead rubber, put them to bed. Thanks for coming. 2024, decider at Suncorp. Now, losing these ones at Suncorp are a little bit of I'd say a bit of a mark on the history. But outside of that, look, lose 2024, Bradman Best runs away with it. It is what it is. 2025, though. No one gave us a shout. New South Wales again thought they were all high and mighty, running all over the place, and Queensland managed to get the damn thing done. So I'd probably rank 2022 and then 2025 for Billy's career. And then we all know how 2026 went. Very close. I think a few unfortunate circumstances, couldn't get it done at home. Again, it is what it is. You can't win them all. But 3 out of 5 is not too bad at all. That's not too bad at all. So, yeah, again, congrats to Billy and whatever he decides to do moving forward. But he has served his state well. All right, moving on. So, who is going to be the number 7 at the PNG Chiefs? It's a question that everyone's been asking. I feel like the answers are pretty obvious, or at least who we think they're going to be. So, they've got the staircase there, their home ground, or somewhere over there in Papua New Guinea. They've got signings 1 through to 6. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they've got that. And they've got number 7, and they've already got it reserved. So there's a few obvious candidates, but I think at this point you're looking at, I'd say, 2 or 3 players maximum, I'd say, at this stage. One of them being Cam Munster, which I think is probably least likely. I'd be very surprised if you had, say, him playing 6 and Jerome playing 7 or something like that. But hey, they both might end up there. But the 2 front runners would have to surely be Sam Walker and Nathan Cleary. I feel like you're either going to end up with Sam Walker or Nathan Cleary as the halfback at the PNG Chiefs, and whichever one doesn't go to the Chiefs will be the halfback for the Roosters. So both of their contracts all over the place at the moment. I feel like the most likely one to go over to the Chiefs is going to be Nathan Cleary. Like, he's done everything imaginable at Penrith Panthers. He's got more rings than he knows what to do with at this stage. I feel like that's the perfect challenge for a player like Cleary, to go over to a brand new club with the boys and go potentially win another contest in your first year. Would just be like cherry on top of his career. And he could still go play for ages, make a big coin, and just, do whatever he wants to do. So be very interesting to see. And like I said, I feel like whichever one doesn't go there will end up being the halfback at the Sydney Roosters. Yeah, it'll be, I feel like it's going to hit that signing season. I don't know if it's going to be anything. It's obviously, they've got to wait to November 1 before this sort of stuff. The Roosters, no doubt in my mind, will be doing everything. Well, both of these teams will be doing everything they can to try to lock those 7s down. Like, they are there's obviously Nathan right at the top of the mountain. Sammy Walker, particularly with how he went in Origin and, how he's kind of shaping into this final season and the way the Roosters season had gone, like, his value is just shot through the roof. Negotiations have sort of been stalling on his side of things. Like, he's supposedly knocked back offers from the Sydney Roosters. Nathan Cleary's not overly clear on like where he's going to be going, so I feel like either of them are up for the grabs at this point. And there's going to be a long list of clubs, but no one's going to have the sort of coin that I suppose either of these clubs are going to have. Yeah, I feel like it's going to get around to that November 1 period, and if neither of them are signed, oh God, there is going to be blood come November 1 and signings and all that. Like, I think some of the stuff coming up, and I feel like the PNG Chiefs has really like to steal the spotlight, bit of mic drop sort of stuff, like the Perth Bears drop their jersey, Myron Tyler signed, and it'll be some other big announcement, and then they're going to announce one of these two or some massive big signings, like just go on an absolute spree. Like, it is going to be a very scary time, and I feel like we're going to see a lot more like ridiculously good players end up there at the PNG Chiefs. And I've spoken about it already. I feel like Michael Chamis, he's not gonna end up with some, average or, middle of the pack sort of halfback. I think he's gonna go absolute cream of the crop. He's gonna get the creme de la creme, get them over there to PNG, pay them big fat coin and say, boys, we're looking for a premiership in our first couple of years, if not the first year. Let's get after it. And I feel like Nathan Cleary, like that is your perfect person right there. Yeah, it'll be very interesting. Like the big, I suppose, like asterisk, the criticism on the signings and everything going on with PNG Chiefs at the moment is they don't have forwards, they don't have this, they don't have that. And it's just like, bro, they're going to get them. They're going to get them for sure eventually. I'm really concerned even about a couple of the Broncos forwards potentially laying around, but I suppose time will tell. Once it gets close to November 1, though, if you haven't locked down the players you want at your club, I would be sweating bullets at this stage. Okay, let's move through to round 24. So like I said, after the Broncos results on the weekend, I just want to be put out of my misery at this point. Just put me down. I've had enough. But we get through it. So Roosters, they narrowly beat the Penrith Panthers and take number 1 spot on the ladder. That is wild. Tipped them. Thank you very much for coming. I thought this was like, you would be forgiven if you thought you were watching the grand final. The quality of game, the performance, the desperation from both of these sides, just a level of football was next level, obviously. It was really, really good stuff. So, the Roosters, though, what was so impressive about them, like leading into this, they have had head noise galore playing against the Penrith Panthers. Like, they just can't beat them. Like, it is what it is. They can't beat them. They've had their number for like the better part of the last decade. And I was kind of saying, like, this is the test. If they're able to go out there and either beat Penrith Panthers or keep it close, you know, they're the real deal coming into this final series. I think we already kind of knew that, but that's really confirmed in my brain anyway that, yes, they are a good chance. And I'm going to put a little bit more respect on their name. But across the board, just ridiculous, I think, in that case. But one thing that really stood out, though, their defense was literally just like an iron ball. Penrith just went after them again and again and again, and they managed to hold them out. So that was impressive. Yeah, very well done from the Sydney Roosters. Manly, they get spanked by the Finns. Look, the Finns are off to a little bit of a slow start on this one. I really thought they were going to go out there and put a lot more points on them. Like, still winning to zips, like, really good. I swear I heard, might have been Hello Sport talking about it, that it's like 30 years or something like that since they've been kept to nil at home or whatever the situation was. So rough one there for Manly, how the mighty have fallen, I suppose. Fosball is in fact buried at this point. But yeah, Dolphins, like, I thought they were going to win by a lot more than that. I definitely thought, you know, Manly might have been able to put on a few more points, but that just didn't happen whatsoever. But yeah, very good from the Finns up. Managed to sneak into the 4th position on the ladder as well, which is impressive for them. Like, considering they've had 50 put on them twice this year, sneaking into the top 4 is the only thing they can do at this stage. So it will be really interesting to see how they go into the finals. All right, and Bunnies, Bunnies give the Dogs a little bit of a touch-up. This is just one of those games. I tipped the Dogs. I thought they'd be able to stand up a little bit more, trying to get into that top 8 position. It just wasn't meant to be. And it was a really tough game to pick. I didn't really watch too much of this one. It was just one of those ones where you're like, which version of this team is going to turn up? Like, who knows? And, you know, Dogs didn't turn up. Bunnies went out there and did the damn thing. That's about all I've really got to say on that. Milk, they beat the Sharks. This is not looking good, Bev, if you're a Sharks fan. 2 weeks in a row. Losing to the Dragons is one thing, but then the Canberra Milk coming out there and giving you a nice little touch-up, I'd be a little bit concerned. 2 losses on the trot. I feel like at this point, like if they lose 3, they might be back on my ban list at this point because I've backed them big time. Yeah, I understand. Braden Trindle, he got injured, dislocated shoulder. He's out this week as well. So, you know, they're going to be crossing their fingers and toes, touching wood. They'll be doing, you know, sacrifices, everything that they need to do, you know, hoping to get him back there a little bit sooner because he has been, I think, like the biggest part of this team going on this ridiculous run they have this season and the form that they're in and the synergy that him and Wet Hair have together and everything going on there. Yeah, bit concerning because, you know, don't get me wrong. It's not like I watch the Sharks, you know, go through what they do with a fine-tooth comb, but I feel like when Nico's just been running the team by himself, and this isn't like a go at Nico Hines, but it hasn't quite probably worked out the same way that B1 has been going. So be interesting there. But yeah, up the milk, I suppose. Eels, they pulled the Cowboys' pants down a little bit in this one. Now, I should have known better, honestly, that the Cowboys are playing away from far north Queensland. The Eels have been pretty good, not going to lie. Like, yes, they're not winning a ton of games. They're not in the top 8 or anything like that, but I feel like they've been hanging around in these sort of games. They're playing at home. Perfect storm for them to go and get it done. And they were off to an absolutely hot start as well. Like, they flew out to the blocks. Cowboys managed to, I think there's 2 points in it at the end, but the way I was watching that game on Caxton Hotel, and it was just try for the Eels. Like, you're sitting there and you're going, oh, this is not looking good. Like, the Cowboys, I reckon they would have to be the least threatening team in the top 8 at this point. Now, whether or not they're even going to stay in the top 8, the Bulldogs could potentially take their spot. The Cows do have a buy up their sleeve. But, if you're coming into the finals and you're playing against... And don't get me wrong, look, the Cowboys, they've got the sort of attack... If all the stars align and everything works out, they could seriously hurt a team, and they might do that coming into finals. But I feel like out of all those teams, if you're coming up against one, the Cowboys will be like, yes, that's who we want. The Cowboys are looking weak at this point. All right, the game that I don't even want to talk about, honestly. So I went over to Caxton Street. I wanted to film the Warriors, doing their march, all their fans doing the march down Caxton Street, and absolutely taking it over. That video's on another account, so don't even try to find it. But it was pretty insane atmosphere there. Now, for starters, observation-wise, now I can understand, Broncos season's done. All Broncos fans know that. It is what it is. But even just out on Caxton Street, pre-game, pre-march and everything, if you looked around at the jerseys, people getting around the pubs, this and that, I would say there was more Warriors fans out and about. And, they're up and about, obviously. Their team's absolutely killing it. But, yeah, that's not a great sign. And then, obviously, the march itself, that atmosphere of it, it makes me jealous sometimes of fan bases, particularly the Warriors. I feel like the Warriors probably have one of the coolest, I'd say, fan bases getting around, and I don't know what it is, if it runs deeper into the team just because of their connection to culture or whatever it is in that case. But I know the Broncos did a march with the Carter boys, and I spoke about that the week before, but man, the energy of this one, I wasn't wearing Broncos jersey, no one would have known a bloody thing. I was wearing a black shirt, I fit right in. But yeah, just electric sort of stuff. I'm sad that I didn't get to go to the game, but at the same time, happy that I didn't go to the game because the Broncos got absolutely fucking thumped. And yeah, I keep saying, I've seen enough. Put me down. Season's done. I've backed the boys in every single week, and I'm going to continue doing it for the rest of the year. That's fine. But it's disappointing. It hurts. And I don't need to really rip in and go hard at anybody. It's just... Yeah. The prices you pay, I suppose, for winning a premiership, I think it'll be interesting to see if any more I feel like the club's definitely going to keep it in-house, whatever the fuck's going on there, because there is shit obviously going on. Who knows what it is? People are leaving, all sorts of stuff's happening. It's all over the place. But yeah, where do you even put this? Chance, brother, what are you doing? Hurt my pookie. Reece Walsh gone for the season. Syndesmosis had surgery, I think either today or yesterday or whatever. It was up on his Instagram story. I think he's out now, which is all sweet. But gone. What do you do? I think Chance is banned for 2 weeks, suspended or whatever it was, for a hip drop tackle. So yeah, not great. Not great for the Warriors, I suppose, as well. But yeah, so hopefully Walshy heals up quickly. Luckily, it's obviously not great surgery and out for the season, but look, season's done at this stage. It's not like a real career-ending injury anyway, at least as far as I'm aware. It's not your ACLs and real bad shit like that. So I'm sure he'll be good to go sooner rather than later. Lukey Metcalf, though, doing his hamstring, kicking a goal, that is just cruel. And I think it was Reedy, I'd like to say. Don't quote me on it, but I'd like to quote Reedy. I think it's a pretty bad one, actually. You wouldn't think it'd be too bad kicking goals, but, they're... he could be out for 6 weeks sort of shit with a soft tissue sort of thing like that. So yeah, it's terrible. Came back, absolutely killed it in that game, against Penrith. Put them to the sword, played out of his skin, has been sitting out for so long and gets taken down with another injury. The poor bloke just cannot catch a break at this stage. So thoughts go to Lukey Metcalf, and hopefully he heals up pretty quickly. So, hate to see it happen. And there's a fair argument that Suncorp Stadium might well and truly be cursed for the Warriors players. You had Tanner Boyd earlier this season, you've had Luke Metcalf, and then was it Luke Metcalf the year before? It's terrible. I feel like it was. I think he did his ACL there. Not good. But at this stage, and I'll happily say it, look, Broncos, they're done for the season. I'm looking forward to 2027. The boys just all need to be sent to Bali, wherever they need to go. Just let loose. Whatever's going to make them happy to bring them together, or if they just fucking need to be away from each other. Like, go on your holidays, go do whatever you need to do. Come back refreshed, happy, chilling, ready to go in 2027. You know, what that's going to look like, fuck knows. It is a little bit of a scary idea, honestly, going forward. I had a dream the other day that fucking Dean Mariner is going to be leaving the club. I believe he's potentially hitting the market as well come November 1. And in my dream, he went to the Dogs. So Gus Gill, stay well away from him. Thank you very much. But look, once round 27 finishes and we enter the first week of finals, I will be back in the Waz, baby. I'm going to New Zealand Warriors to go the whole way. And I can say that I'm half Kiwi. So I'll say that's how I'm going to get in. Yes, I could go for the Dolphins. But going for another Brisbane team, that feels like cheating way more than picking another team for the finals. So yeah, I'm going to be up the Waz once final time rolls around. I'd love to see them play the Roosters, honestly. Just change things up. And obviously for them to go through and win their first premiership would just be like insane. It'd be crazy to see. Now, with the Broncos, I'm a bit worried about a few of their players coming into November 1 territory, into signing season, into negotiations. So one of them already been Dean Mariner. There's whispers about that. There's not really too much information, but, you know, supposedly you could be looking to test the open market. I feel like Dino has been one of the best outside backs, best wingers, best centers, you know, however you'd like to put it, that Broncos have had for the last couple seasons, like absolutely killing it with Karapani, particularly towards the start of the season. You know, terrible injury, everything kind of sidelined him, all that sort of stuff. But I'd actually be shattered if the Broncos, you know, let Dino go. And I know wingers, you know, they kind of come and go and it is what it is. But at the same time, it would be nice to be able to keep him. The big one, the one that I'm like most concerned about is Xavier Williamson. So supposedly, and this is all just from the grapevine, from the journos, from the reports and whatever else, but supposedly he's in transition between managers and potentially going with Payne Haas as manager. Yeah, not saying the management's going to have anything to do with him moving on or this, that and everything, but at the same time, like the bloke is, you know, well and truly one of the best up and coming, if not one of the best young forwards in the contest. You know, like hands down, dude is an absolute weapon, and we've seen what he's capable of, particularly this season. You know, throughout Origin or different periods where Payne Haas was injured, where he's just said, "Boys, get on my back, let's go." Like he's been that sort of player. Broncos should be trying to lock him down forever at this point. But one thing, like in particular, that worries me is, you know, they haven't been able to do a deal yet. Apparently it's on hold. But Xavier Williamson, and I might be looking too far into this, and I hope I'm wrong, but posting Mr. Stand on Business on his Instagram page. Just bring it up, actually. Let me have a look. That way I'm quoting it correctly. Mr. Stand on Business. Where are you at? Mr. Stand on Business. Yeah. So, yeah, photo of him playing for the Broncos. And then a photo of him playing as a kid. And the caption says, "Need to go back to what that little guy in the second slide was about." That could be nothing. I could be looking into it, but that might scream that he's not overly happy with, you know, playing footy at the moment, potentially. So, you know, it could just be, you know, the way the Broncos season's gone. It could be about losing. I'm not too sure. I'm not him. So, you know, don't quote me on it, but that's a little bit concerning when they don't have him locked down after 2027. So, Broncos, please do the right thing. Throw all the money at him. Make him happy. Do whatever you need to do, because if we lose him, like, fuck me. Losing Payne Haas into Xavier Williamson would just about break me. Like, I think I'd do a head gasket. I would explode, honestly. All right, enough about that. Moving on, Knights. They put on a little bit of a show beating the Titans. Now, the Titans, they put on a few late tries, but they were getting absolutely pumped. I think the Knights might have taken their foot off the gas a little bit towards the end of it. The Knights, again, they're just doing the damn thing. Really excited with what they're doing. And the Dragons, they just inched over the Tigers, which, by the looks of it, really did live up to this clash, but not great for Broncos fans. I think the Dragons are now only 2 points behind or something like, no, maybe 4. Whatever it is, they're narrowing the gap, and I don't even want to think about the possibility of the Broncos getting the spoon. So Tigers, you fucking let me down big time there. Just like the Broncos, I think they've checked the fuck out of this season, but look, it is what it is. All right. Moving on, round 25, tips, hot predictions, all that sort of stuff. All right, Thursday night scaries. We've got Storm versus Panthers. I'm going the Riff 1 to 12 in this one. Now, it's just, I feel like it's so weird. Like, you look at this one and it not being a top 4 clash between like 1 and 2 or 1 and 4 or whatever it is. It's just odd to look at. You're like, Storms in 11th? Like, what are you doing in this case? So yeah, Storm season, we all know it, just like a lot of other teams at this pointy end of the season, they're done. Harry Grant's coming back in though, so that's pretty big for them. I thought he was going to be out for a little bit longer, so at least that's a little bit of something, a little bit of gusto out of back into that team. So the Storm, they no doubt are going to want this one back big time after getting absolutely slapped earlier in the season. Like the Riff put 50 on them. I'd like to say like it was probably within first 5 rounds. Whenever it was early in the season, and that was like, what the fuck is happening to the Storm? And then, you know, their season kind of transpired the way it did, but you know, Storm are going to want that back bit of time. I don't think they're going to be able to roll on and get that done over Penrith Panthers. And yeah, you can sit there and go, yeah, Penrith have lost the last couple of weeks, but it's like they lost to the Roosters, who are now first in the ladder. And I think they've won like 8 games in a row, whatever it is, and it was super, super close. And then obviously the Warriors, who then are third on the ladder. So I don't think they're going to be too worried by the Melbourne Storm. Yes, it's down there at Amy Park and so on and so forth, but look, it ain't the same Storm side, baby. So I feel like Penrith, they should be well and truly enough. I think they've got a couple of ins themselves. And try scorer wise, I'm going to go with Isaiah Papali'i to score any time. Big Papa. Well, not the Big Papa, Mini Papa, iPap. Anyway, moving on. Friday night, Milk versus Broncos. Look, I'm going to say it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it every other week. I'm going to go down with a sinking ship. Broncos 1 to 12. At this point, how much do I believe that? Look, I've been more confident, that's for sure, especially without Reece Walsh. I think Reece Walsh, Hayes Perham's coming in. Milk are going to have this marked in their calendar big time after what happened in the finals last year. Like the Broncos are just, I feel like they're just going to be going through the motions at this point. Yes, they definitely want to win. You know, couple more W's before the end of the season would be great for the fans, gives people to cheer about. Love to see some big games, some big wins, things like that. But Canberra, I feel like, particularly like they're on a bit of a roll. Their season's done as well, but they are going to want to prove something massive for their home fans after the loss that they had last year. The Broncos are right there in Golden Point. So, yeah, I'm a little bit scared, not going to lie. And you look at that Canberra team on paper, you're like, fuck, that is a good team. It is a good team. Broncos is all right, but yeah, Canberra are going to be absolutely flying. I feel it's going to be a tricky one. Poor Duffman, he's been dropped to the bench or to the Reggies from what I can see. Benny Hunt's coming in to kind of just guide the team around. People having a lot of different opinions about that in the comment section, I can see, but it is what it is. Like, just get through it, boys, at this point. But no, yeah, and particularly without Reece Walsh, like Billy Walters being back is just an amazing thing, and that gives me a lot of hope coming in. I think he's another player that the Broncos just need to lock down. That hasn't happened at this stage. Hopefully we'll see a lot of signings after the season's done, but yeah, just it's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. I'm going to go with Ezra Mam to score anytime. All right. Onwards and upwards, Fins up versus the Eels. I'm going to go the Dolphins 1 to 12. I was thinking about 13 plus, but you know what? Like I've been saying, I feel like the Eels are going to be able to actually keep this a little bit close. Dolphins, they want to lock up that 4th spot. They do not want to drop it to the top 4. The Eels are one of those games they should be licking their lips at. Like on paper, licking their lips at. And don't get me wrong, they could easily go out there and put 13 plus on. They're that type of outfit. They got so many points in them. But, you know, if history looks at anything, the Eels, they've been hanging around in these sort of games. So I think they'll be all sweet though. But yeah, particularly at a Suncorp, like their fans are going to be just frothing at the mouth seeing their team go this far into finals. You know, hopefully, you know, stay in the top 4 and actually make a run for it. It is good to see. It is definitely good to see from them. But yeah, don't be surprised whatsoever if this is a little bit closer than you expect. And I'm going to go Salon Cobbo to score anytime because the bloke literally cannot stop scoring tries. Alrighty, Knights versus Manly. I'm going Knights 13 plus, a nice little one there at McDonald Jones Stadium. Manly, season done. There's a lot of these teams at this point that are just all over the place. But yeah, I feel like the Knights could roll out there at home and give them an absolute pounding. Like, they are just on fire. Tommy Turbo, he's back in for Manly. Don't think, like, gun player, like, for how long he's going to be out there on the field. That's honestly what I'm thinking at this stage. It's just like, is he going to do a hammy? Is something going to happen to Tommy Turbo? But the Knights, they are absolutely flying at this stage. And it's really good to see. Like, I like it. I really enjoy watching them. I feel like the Knights backline are going to do absolutely dirty things to Manly. I feel like the Knights backline is going to do absolutely dirty things to Manly. Manly's backline pretty good, don't get me wrong. They got some speed, they got some power, they got some rep players and all that, but the Knights they're just doing the damn thing at the moment. I think Bradman Best is back in. I don't think he played last week, so that's a huge in for them. And obviously Dommy Young and old Greg Marju just killing it, scoring tries for fun left, right and centre. I think Dane Gagai's out, Fletcher Hunton, but he's been scoring tries. Sharp's been on fire, Ponga's been on fire. Like the whole team has just been like ridiculous, which is crazy to think where they finished last year. So anything's possible. Anything's possible, Dragons. I'm looking at you guys. Maybe if the Broncos do win the spoon, they might be a shot for next year as well. Who knows? But yeah, Manly, I feel like they're going to be in for it, and I'm going to go Fletcher Sharp to score anytime. Rabbithos versus the Waz. I'm going up the Waz. I'm going the Warriors 1-12 in this one. I don't know where all this... I've seen a little bit of chatter online recently, various content creators and people kind of talking about it, that the Rabbitohs are a bit of a dark horse for this season, and I'm just not seeing it. Not going to lie. I'm not seeing it at all, that they are going to be, a serious... team in this season. Like, I'd almost put them there with the Cowboys going, like, if you're in the finals and you're coming up against them, that's probably who you want. Now, in saying that, Latrell Mitchell's back. He's in the reserves. He's been on a long recovery road back into this. So if he gets subbed into this team, it changes dramatically. Like, if they had him, and obviously you can say that for every single team, but Latrell Mitchell, like, was form player, I'd say, leading into those injuries. Like, he can win a game single-handedly, by himself, no worries at all. Oh, just chuck me the ball, score 3 tries if he feels like it. But yeah, whether or not we're going to see him out there in the field is going to be another thing. I'm not seeing in the Rabbitohs, but what the fuck do I know, to be fair? The Warriors, they're going to be pushing for that second place big time. They want that final run all the way there to be in New Zealand and not have to travel, not have to do anything. So they're going to be turning up massively in this one. Few outs though, obviously. Like the big thing is, who did they end up putting at halfback? I think it was Chanel Harris-Tavita. Yeah, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Luke Hanson comes in. I don't think I've really seen anything of Luke Hanson, so I have no idea what that's going to look like. Chanel Harris-Tavita has just been unreal this season, though. Like, so impressed with him. Don't run at him. He's not one of those halfbacks that you can target, that's for sure, because he will just fucking flatline you. So, yeah, I feel like they're in safe hands with Chanel at halfback. So, I can't remember him playing a ton of halfback, but yeah, I reckon they'll be all sweet. Their middles will lay the groundwork for him, like makes his job so much easier. And I'm going to go with Curdy Capewell, Mr. Mulligan, to score anytime because he loves the meat pie. Dragons versus Doggies. You know what? I am going to go the Dragons at this point because, the Dogs, they've let me down. They let me down last week. Yes, they're playing for the potential spot on the 8, but the Dragons... upsetting teams, getting W's. If they go 3 for 3, if they go back-to-back games on the trot, I will be shaking at this stage, worried that the Broncos are going to get the wooden spoon. And I feel like that's what the Dragons, they're fucking firing up. Like, there's another team within striking distance at this point. They could potentially somehow, after the way that they started the season, not get the wooden spoon and hand it over to another. That's their motivation. Fuck making the 8. Imagine starting that season and not ending up with the spoon. That is the ultimate win for the Dragons. So that terrifies me, and the way that they've been going about it, especially beating teams like the Sharks. If they can get over the Sharks, they can get over the Bulldogs, that's for sure. So do not be surprised whatsoever. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too hot on the Dragons here. I'm getting a little bit too hot with what they've been doing. But yeah, don't be surprised whatsoever if they get it done. In saying that, I'd love to see the Dogs win because fuck, I do not want the Broncos to get the spoon. I don't want the Dragons to even get close. I want them to lose the rest of the games, but I think they can get it done, and I think Terrell Sloan can score any time. Titans versus Sharkies. I'm going Sharks 13+, and I've said that for 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row, whatever it is. They let me down 2 weeks in a row, so they better be doing the biggest bounce back of all time because they've dropped out of the 4. They need to get the fuck back in there because you can't win the comp from there. And yeah, I'd be a little bit worried if I was a Sharks fan. Like the Titans, it should be a win, you think. Like I feel like they had a good little, a nice little patch there. They were playing really well and then have kind of fallen off a cliff and just getting pounded by teams. So that's what the Sharks should be going out there looking to do. Improve the for and against. Go out there and absolutely flog the fuck out of the Titans. Push for the 4th spot and go from there. But no Braden Trindle. So no B1 and B2. You've only got B2 at this stage in Kennedy. So it'll be interesting. I think Peru goes in there. Maybe I'm starting to really reconsider 13+. I'm going to stick with it for now. I'm not going to change the tip. I'm staying with 13+, but Yikes. Like, if they do drop this one to the Titans, that is very concerning. So, and if they do lose 3 in a row, I think I might have to bring back the old rule where they got to win 3 in a row before I go with them again, because you can't be doing that coming into business end of the season. And I'm going to go with Katoa to score anytime. All right, last but not least, this game has the potential to be an absolute bloodbath. We've got Roosters versus Tigers. Now, Roosters 13 plus. Fuck it, even Roosters 80 plus. I feel like at this point, we could potentially see the first ever 100-point game in the NRL. Like, there could be a legitimate cricket score put on the Tigers from the Sydney Roosters this weekend. Like, this is grab your popcorn, sit there in front of the tally, and just watch them pounding try after try after try. I would understand completely if Tigers fans were waving the white flag, throwing the towel, however they want to be put out of their misery. And you know the worst part about it is I know their fans are so loyal, they're going to sit through it. It's like they're having their eyes pulled open. They're going to be sitting there and just enduring through the pain. I will be like blown away if the Tigers manage to keep this competitive and don't be done 13 plus, or God forbid they go on and win the thing. They're paying, I think, around about like $10 or something like that. It's honestly worth a slap at this point, but I just don't see the universe that we're in that they're going to roll out there and beat the Sydney Roosters with the form that they're in. And yes, it was a close game they had last week, but yeah, this... Yikes. I would genuinely be thinking about putting a multi on from Roosters 1 through to 13 to score a try. Like, I feel like it's genuinely going to be one of those sort of games. Like, fuck. It could be real bad. It's going to be bad. Like, if you know, you know. Damn. Yeah, I'm going to have to spend this week just coming up with video ideas or something to put out when they put on 100. Like, oh, it's obviously raising the cricket bat, surely. I'm joking about it now, but fuck, it's after what they did to the Cowboys and what the Tigers have been dishing up the last couple of weeks. Not to mention Teddy's back. Teddy, pants down around his ankles, spiders on him, can't be tackled, runs sideways. Tedesco is back into the fold as well. So yeah, enjoy that. And no Adam Dewey. I believe he's gone for the rest of the season. Shoulder Rico, whatever's happening with his stuff, I guess. Yeah, fuck that. I feel for your Tigers fans. Not a good time to be running into the Roosters. The Roosters are licking their lips, looking to, looking to shore up that minor premiership spot. So yeah, good luck. Marky mark for 6 tries, I suppose, at this point. So, but that is pretty much it for this week. Appreciate if you stuck around this long. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow on all the social media, and I'll catch you guys next week.